When George Harrison published his autobiography, I, Me, Mine, on August 15, 1980, it immediately stood apart from the typical rock memoir. Rather than being churned out for mass consumption, the first run of the book was crafted almost like a collector's artifact hand-bound volumes, each carefully produced, with about 2,000 copies personally signed by Harrison himself. For fans and collectors, it was less a commercial product and more a tangible keepsake from one of music's most enigmatic figures. Yet, for those hoping to unearth new Beatles revelations, the book offered a different sort of treasure. I, Me, Mine was not an exposé nor a tell-all. Instead, it was something far more intimate, a glimpse into Harrison's inner life. He wrote about what inspired him, what frightened him, and what gave him joy. He even made room for his affection toward Monty Python, revealing a playfulness and humor that often got overshadowed by his reputation as the serious Beatle. At its core, the book functioned like a published diary, combining fragments of personal reflection with reproductions of Harrison's handwritten lyrics. With commentary provided by longtime Beatles press officer Derek Taylor, it became a hybrid work, part memoir, part scrapbook, part historical artifact. It showed Harrison not merely as a rock star, but as a writer and thinker who was trying to articulate life beyond the glare of Beatlemania. Importantly, I, Me, Mine focused more on Harrison as an individual than on his time with the Beatles, while he acknowledged the whiplash of suddenly becoming world famous, describing how the excitement of early stardom quickly gave way to fear once Beatlemania reached its fever pitch. He largely avoided framing the book as another chapter in the Beatles saga. Instead, it was a meditation on creativity, fame, and personal growth. But the timing of its release inevitably stirred controversy. Just a few months later, in December 1980, John Lennon was murdered in New York, casting a shadow over the book. Before his death, Lennon had expressed disappointment with Harrison's portrayal of him in the memoir. He felt slighted, reportedly saying that Harrison had downplayed his influence to nothing, and he was especially bothered that his role in Harrison's development as a musician had been brushed aside. Though Lennon was mentioned in the book, he was not positioned as a central creative force in Harrison's journey, which Lennon found hurtful. Years later, Harrison reflected on this criticism with characteristic bluntness. In a 1987 interview, he recalled that Lennon's frustration stemmed from not being credited for a single line in the song Taxman. Harrison argued that if he had gone down the path of cataloging every tiny songwriting contribution, he would have also had to list his own unacknowledged input on Lennon and McCartney's songs, such as a couple of lines in Come Together or Eleanor Rigby. For Harrison, the point of the book was never to dissect songwriting minutiae. It was to tell his story on his own terms. More than 4 decades on, I, Me, Mine remains both a personal statement and a cultural artifact. It does not attempt to be the definitive history of the Beatles, nor does it dwell on scandal or gossip. Instead, it captures George Harrison's voice at a pivotal moment, reflective, sometimes guarded, yet deeply personal. In choosing not to frame himself solely through the lens of his bandmates, Harrison asserted what he had been striving for all along, to be seen as more than just the quiet Beatle, but as an artist in his own right, with his own story to tell.